What a very special time for me. Starfleet Academy. Captain's Pod, Stardate 242726.6. Welcome aboard the Starship Enterprise, and thank you for joining us on our continuing voyages through the final frontier.
Yes, thank you for joining us on the continued voyage through...
I am not done.
Oh.
I am Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, every day with her is a game of toxic or non-toxic. It's Ambassador Deneé.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what you're gonna step in this week, buddy.
I didn't mean that in the Gen Z way of toxic. I meant that in the literal way of...
You haven't seen my bathroom, so you know that you don't know how true this is.
Yep, exactly.
We have two sinks. There is Ian's sink and then there's Deneé's sink.
Stuff from your sink keeps creeping over to my sink. Do you notice that I move it back?
That's the toxic, non-toxic.
We have 3 episodes of Starfleet Academy left, 8, 9, and 10. I wanted to quickly remind you of a couple of the season predictions that you have.
We still haven't really got into the whole mommy returns thing.
No, the mother will end up being evil and he'll have to choose between her and Starfleet. It's episode 10, isn't it?
Oh.
It's going to be right at the end. It's not happening yet.
Yeah, it was an interesting pendulum swing, the last episode compared to the one just before that, where we have like this battle and then we have a sort of downshift of energy. So I'm really curious what they're going to do with the last 3.
Yeah, me too. Well, let's dive straight into it. This week's episode is called Life of the Stars. What do you think happens this week? And you can't steal my prediction that I think a famous Star Trek person is going to arrive, because we are literally saying stars, like a star, a celebrity.
You've told me many times about this magical future that Gene Roddenberry created, where
there
is no more debt, there's no more illness, but we're still starstruck. We're still worshiping celebrities.
Are you kidding? Have you met Boimler? I don't think celebrity has anything to do with Utopia. I think it is their personalities will come to the front. Yeah, that's going to happen. And we also know that there are holo novels and like holo dramas that are a thing. So I think there are still actors in the future. They're just acting in like holodeck movies.
This is completely unrelated to what we're about, like the title of the episode. But I just had this thought. Oftentimes when I'm watching TNG, there are these references to historical figures. And oftentimes it's sort of as a way to relate to the current audience, but it's in their past.
Correct.
So they'll sort of talk about...
I see where this is going.
Like that.
Yeah.
And so we'll say things like, oh, interesting that this person is still relevant in whatever year in the future.
Yeah, or that they know about them. Like Stephen Hawking. Yeah. Data idolizes Stephen Hawking, has him in like a holodeck program. Stephen Hawking has talked about, or did talk about, Star Trek before he passed away. So he has talked about Star Trek. Does Data know that Stephen Hawking talked about Star Trek?
And go with me here, because I haven't watched Discovery. I haven't watched Discovery. I haven't watched Voyager. I haven't watched Enterprise. So I have no clue how accurate this is. But I can't remember them doing that in the writing room anymore. There's not like a reference to Barack Obama or like. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so like a 21st century
they just kind of like
in modern Trek.
I feel like what happened is in early Star Trek days, they sort of needed to draw the audience in selling this idea of a sci-fi show by making it somewhat relevant to today. Like we need to mention things that pull them in. But then Star Trek has kind of, I don't know, I haven't seen anything like that lately.
So one that springs to mind, and it's a bit of a cheat, is Paul Stamets. But it's more of an homage than a reference, because the chief engineer on Discovery is called Paul Stamets, and Discovery's engine works by jumping through a mycelial network. And there's a scientist in the 21st century called Paul Stamets who came up with this mycelium network idea.
Right, okay.
So there's an engineer in Star Trek named after him, but it's not.
But I don't know, and I
can't think of
it would be kind of a deep dive, and maybe because we have such an amazing community, you can put your mind to it also and just try to think of the times when there are references that make you go, oh, interesting. You're referencing this person. I know Mark Twain is one of them, for example. That's an easy one.
Chris Pine is familiar with, so Chris Pine's Captain Kirk in the movies.
Okay.
Is familiar with the Beastie Boys.
Right.
That's one of his favorite songs.
Right.
Sabotage.
It's just, I don't know. It was just an interesting thought. Thinking about stardom, thinking about, what the celebrity status and how, if you were to ask me a celebrity to talk about in Star Trek to draw in a new audience, I'm thinking, who would that be? Would it be a musician? Would it be a politician? Would it be an actor?
Yeah. I would love to know what the most recent pop culture reference in Star Trek is.
Yeah. What are they doing?
And I'm trying to think of it. What's the most recent one?
It's just like, it's kind of got my brain right now because I really do wonder if it's that Star Trek doesn't need to do it anymore.
Well, I don't know that it ever really did it because I think it was all like abstract stuff, like way in the past. Like they would, the original series would mention World War II.
Right.
But they're still 20 years removed from World War. It's wild to think.
That's so recent,
close.
though.
It's so recent.
That's really recent. Or Picard, if he's reading, I don't know if he read William Shakespeare, but he was a very poetic.
Oh, he read Shakespeare.
Man.
Yeah, he could quote Shakespeare.
So, and we all are very familiar with Shakespeare, even though that's not a modern thing now. But it's still interesting. Oh, we're still referencing Shakespeare this far into the future. But anytime it was somewhat modern, my little ear would just kind of tweak to it, and I don't know. Amelia
Earhart is mentioned in Voyager, but there's got to be one that's more recent than that. Because the problem is, and I love this question, we could do a podcast on pop culture references in Star Trek and whether they work or not.
No, we couldn't, because then we'd have to watch
references.
Everything and look for it.
Hey, that's great. I love it. The interesting thing is that the future of Star Trek that we know, it gets squiffy because in the 90s is where it detours. So in the 90s, there's World War III.
Right.
And then after World War III is a lot of recovery. And then there's First Contact in 2064. Forgive me, that could be wrong, 2060 something. So you can't make a reference after 1990 unless you change the timeline. Because then you're saying that we're not in Star Trek's alternate future. So, and Strange New Worlds did a bit of that because Strange New Worlds shifted it forwards into 2024. It's saying that Khan grew up in the 2020 or was a baby in the 2020s. So, and I think there was a little bit of that so that we didn't catch up too much with Star Trek. But yeah, I would love there to be a reference. But I think that's why they haven't done it, because we diverge in the 90s.
That makes sense.
Thanks to the original series.
So we know then, to circle back to today's show, we know then that it won't be a star reference to our modern stars.
It's probably not going to be Kylie Jenner. No.
That's the person that you think of.
I have no idea why Kylie Jenner jumped into my mind.
Wow.
It's not going to be Will Smith.
Wow. The slap that lasted all the way through time.
Yep. If that's what he's remembered for, that honestly sucks. If that is what Will Smith is ultimately remembered for, that sucks.
Okay. Real-time question before we get into the show today.
Okay.
This is why the show's going to be 6 hours long, isn't it?
Always is. I should start recording.
If you could interject somebody into the Star Trek show, a reference, and you could only do it once, who would it be?
Oh, man, that's a big question.
That's a question for you guys listening, too. You can send it Ian and Deneé at gmail.com, IANANDDENEE at gmail.com. Who would you?
Who would you reference? Or are they just like an aside reference?
It's just the reference, like somebody quotes them, or somebody's inspired by them, or they're on a holosuite and there's like a little. You've got like the mobster episodes, where there's like get out of here, and then like shooting stuff, and there's all these kind of things that kind of point back into our history here in our world. That's really fun to see in their world because it makes you feel like you're part of it somehow. Yeah.
My instinct is Star Wars or Back to the Future, but I think I've got to do something that predates the original series.
Yeah, I think we've agreed that it has to be something before, like in the 90s, right? Like it has to be something.
Yeah, but that could work for Back to the Future because that's the 80s.
Okay.
But Back to the Future mentions Star Trek, so I can't do that.
Oh, I see. It undid itself.
It undoes itself.
Okay. So you're making new rules. That makes sense. We have to have some guidelines.
Yeah, there's got to be guidelines. So I've got to think pre-1966. I think it's Doctor Who Because Doctor Who came out
He was already in Star Trek.
What do you mean?
Wasn't his like little doodad in the woo-ad?
A police box from the 1960s.
Yes.
Or the 1950s.
Yes.
Appears in Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Not necessarily the TARDIS. We've seen all kinds of things end up in space.
Wow.
Perhaps a phone box. I've done a hard 180 on this. Yeah, sorry.
Oh my God. Selfishly, I'm going to choose Dr. Jenny Sarah Barney.
Okay.
Because she was born in 1861. She died in 56. And she's like part of my family history. And she was a pioneering physician in New Hampshire. So she's like one of the first women physicians that was in that area. And she has a really interesting history. And my, let's see here, born to a prominent family in Grafton, J. Sarah Barney graduated valedictorian from Boston University with a degree in medicine and surgery in 1896.
Let's go.
She was a founding doctor at Franklin Hospital, and she practiced from 1910 until she retired. She's remembered for her grit, her humor, and her involvement with women's suffrage. Upon her death, newspapers called her a pioneer and urged young readers to gather a little inspiration from the life of Dr. Barney to face up to the problem of the hour.
Wow.
And she is my family.
Was she like your great?
She is
great.
My great aunt.
That's fun.
And I can't be quoted exactly on the lineage, but it's through my grandmother's line. They came from like New England.
On your mother's side?
On my mother's side.
That's cool.
It would just be kind of cool, like modern Star Trek. So you have another photo ionic. Oh, what is Sam? What's Happy?
Photonic.
She's a probiotic.
She's a photonic.
She's a photonic. You have a photonic doctor. So maybe Happy becomes a doctor and her inspiration is Dr. Jenny Sarah Barney.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Love that. So is that your prediction for this episode?
That is my prediction for this episode.
You want specific. We've got specific. All right. With that, let's head over to...
No, a star is going to explode. You know.
Oh, a star is going to explode.
Yeah.
So we're going to focus on stellar phenomenon.
Yes.
Excellent. Love it. I like your other prediction better. Let's head over to the holodeck to find out which one of those things happen. And we'll see you in 10 Forward or the Atrium for a full debrief. 2 to be Matt. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings. So many feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first. Ambassador, I have a feeling I know what you want from the replicator. Can I guess a silly guess and a serious guess?
Oh, okay. Sam's Tears is the serious one? What do you?
No, my serious one is the toothbrush.
Oh.
I just imagine you'd be obsessed with that toothbrush.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I don't like toothbrushes. I know they're really important, but all I want to do is convince you that we need to get one of those little things you can put it inside of and you push a button and it like makes all the gross go away.
Oh, that it cleans? I'd be up for that. The toothbrush attachments
the light
that I have are so expensive.
Thing you just use the
UV thing?
Yeah, you just put it in there and then like you push a button.
Know that they work.
See, this is why.
I need to look into that. Yeah, that's fair.
Because I don't like toothbrushes.
No, that's fair. I'm deeply disappointed we're still brushing teeth in the future and we can't just swallow a pill to fix that shit.
Mm-hmm, I'm with you. So no, you weren't around that one, but my one is definitely like whatever she was drinking.
Oh, Terima, Princess Buttercup was drinking.
I want to, whatever is launched into a cask into space for a time. Can I please try? She was so happy.
She was, and apparently it was just two gulps, and that's all you need. And then
I think she had several bottles.
Yeah, she may have been exaggerating. No, I think it was just the one bottle she had.
Well, she indicated that like you have to go to sick bay if you have too much, but because of her inhibitors, she can just sort of like do whatever. That's what I took from that scene. Anyway, that's probably not what we're supposed to be focusing on.
Nope. What am I going to have? I will have a couple of episodes of Voyager from the replicator, please, to give me a bit of a recap.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We're going to have to get into this because you're going to have some very interesting insight into this episode that I will not.
If you don't have questions for me, what is even happening? Like, I imagine you have more questions for me from this episode than you probably ever have before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me just go back to my notes.
Well, first, let's have a synopsis, Ambassador.
Ooh, okay. We have to... I feel like a broken record sometimes. But when this happens on the show, I just feel like I really, really, really need you guys to believe me. I didn't know what this episode was about. I had no idea. And so this popped into my head conversation about when was the last time Star Trek referenced somebody from our history immediately happening in this episode was really unnerving for me this time.
Yeah, this was a crazy one.
I am uncomfortable with myself.
Our initial introduction is a 35-minute conversation. As of recording right now, I don't know how future Ian will edit that into a 6 or 7 minute introduction, which is what we usually have. So whatever doesn't make it in, the bottom line is that my prediction for the episode was that we'd be meeting a celebrity in the Star Trek world. We kind of do. And the ambassador jumped off of that with, when was the last time, how often does Star Trek reference celebrity culture? And what's the most up-to-date celebrity or pop culture thing that Star Trek has mentioned?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
So for this episode to be... that's crazy.
It was really unnerving because there was a couple of times in here where there are obvious references. Obviously, this is Thornton Wilder heavy episode.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here going, how
did
we have that conversation? And then this is what it is. So
I even said that it has to be pre-1966 because it has to be something that Star Trek couldn't have possibly referenced Star Trek, and this is from
Wilder
1940.
Wilder was born 1897 and then died in 1975.
Yeah, but he wrote this, and it became a play and a movie in 1940, which is it's wild, absolutely
Wilder.
One of our most wilder predictions.
Today's little synopsis will be that we need to talk about the trauma of what happens after the intensity of the incident called
on the Miyazaki.
Miyazaki? That sounds right.
Yes.
And because last episode was a bit of a breather from that, giving a lot of time between the events, a month or more. We are now all of us getting back together, all of the characters, the Academy people that we love. They're coming together and they're trying to figure out how to move through their trauma through a forced class
theater.
With the return of a character that I definitely recognize.
Yeah, you do. Sylvia Tilly.
Don't know why I am excited to see her. And in this episode, the cadets are kind of forced to try to see their own lens of their own life through the lens of this play. Was it Our Town?
Our Town. Yeah, I was going to ask if you know what it is, if you've ever heard of it. This was my very first introduction to this play. It was not on my radar.
We'll definitely get into that. I didn't know much about it, but I thought the episode did a good job of kind of recapping it for us in these different ways. It wasn't it wasn't a dump of information. It was sort of scattered throughout. We were along for the ride as they were experiencing it too. But the big beats are that Tarima is back. She is no longer allowed to be in the War Academy, and so she's forced to join our crew. The trauma is real, but they're attempting to do some kind of emotional bonding through their class. And Sam has been hiding her injury too long and comes face to face with her own mortality, so to speak. And at the end of her life, standing beside her, Captain Kitty and the doctor. And we learn that she has a second chance where she's given the coping skills to deal with real life, which is kind of the theme of this episode.
Tarima, she's got some trauma.
She do. Oh boy,
Good
she do.
Good job, Ambassador. Okay, so we're going to carry on with the format that we've been using so far this season, which is we're going to have 3 big points each about the episode that are going to be our launching points for discussion, and then a few follow-up sentences at the very end of just things we want to point out or just little points we want to add. We have had varying forms of success. We're sticking to this format, but I think it's working well. Ambassador, would you like to go first? I feel like
sure.
Wherever I start, I won't answer enough questions. So I almost feel like you need to get some. Do you want to get some context out of the way, or just dive into your points?
Oh no, I'm just going to dive into my points because I don't have any questions for you right now, and I think that that's shocking for you. And maybe I'm nervous about this episode because I don't have any questions.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So you kind of set me up if you don't have questions,
I
what are we even doing here? And you know what? We're about to find out.
Yeah, let's go.
So, my first kind of point that I really thought was interesting about this episode is the idea that Sam was not programmed with the ability to understand trauma.
That's really interesting.
I thought that was really interesting. Because there's a theme that happens with specific characters about an ability to sort of handle intensity, like the Vulcans, for example. They go through intense training to resist their strong emotions, and control of it is their life song. Like that is their religion, that is their way. And I'm fascinated by that because I also like to kill emotions in my life. Although I'm learning, as I get older and have to, actually come face to face with my traumas, that there are times when there are safe places to do that. And it's a really huge relief. Safe people, safe environments, big, like all of a sudden you're hit with something and you're like, where did that come from? And you realize that you're able to actually face something really fearful because you are in a safe space. And maybe you haven't experienced something like that in your life yet. And if you haven't, I really hope that you do, because I think everyone deserves to have a true safe space with like a friend or a counselor or a loved one where you can express yourself and experience the fearlessness of being you and being accepted, and kind of like hear yourself walking through it.
Find people that can live with the ugly you.
Right, exactly. And so like with the Vulcans, their ugly you is a very logical, streamlined, almost robotic sounding sometimes. And then we just haven't seen a lot of the emotional ones. And we've talked about, like, even in Starfleet Academy, seeing a more emotional one, who they killed. Thank you for that, I guess.
Yes, they did. And I don't know that he was emotional. I think he just has
was so sassy.
He has a sassy exuberance.
He found a way to be a Vulcan with some emphasis.
He really did.
And I was really liking it
so much.
Yeah, it was like a version that was, like a young version where, the Spock that we're seeing is kind of the one that has already married himself to his career. This one's still enjoying the freedoms of youth.
Yeah, I love that.
Anyway, the Vulcan culture is interesting to me because it's not that they don't have emotions, it's that they've learned to channel them really, really succinct. Like it's a very seamless, practiced art form. And then we've seen characters like Data, who has gained a chip to feel some kind of a algorithm of emotion. And then we've seen holographic programs that carry emotion, but now we're seeing like a doctor that has a bunch of emotions, even had a holographic tear this episode. So this is a really interesting thing. And then they have this new character, this Happy Sam, who they plonked into episode 1 as my favorite character. And when you said, are they going to kill her? I was like, oh, don't say that. And then it's just so telegraphed. I was like, oh no. And then it's in the play that they're talking about.
Ghost Girl.
And it's in, just all these different ways. And I was worried that it wasn't going to come back, but then she's dressed in white. So then, she's going to have a Jesus thing going on. But anyway, pairing that with the Doctor, I'm really curious, maybe your Doctor thoughts specifically, because I think you have more experience with the Doctor character than I do. But Sam's character was very interesting because it's that childlike wonder, that Boimler that we love to see inside of the Star Trek world, where there's just this exuberance to be there and participate. And you can see that at the beginning of the episode where everybody is just like feeling really traumatic and they're not getting along. And Sam is just like, let's do a play, then leaving a toothbrush. There's just all of these ways that Sam has been this very kooky kind of character.
Exuberant.
And all of a sudden here in the 8th episode, they explain her, again, kind of her approach, because she's not been programmed to have experiences before. This is her first day, 200 and some days on this, in this existence. And the idea that emotion killed her in that time, that lack of mentorship killed her in that time, that not having the right programming killed her in that time. And then she has a chance to become a brand new character, which is also part of the play, like the chance for rebirth, the chance for a second story. It was just a really interesting glimpse into making this character relatable to us in a new way, because now she's 2 in 1, and I'm really curious how that's going to feel in the next few episodes. But
I think Keris Brooks is doing like really, really good work as the actor that plays Sam.
Oh, I love her.
And I think she's got an even tougher job to do in the next episode to now embody a person that has 17 years of memories combined with the memory of not having memories, which is the 209 days of Sam that we've known. But you're right, like this is a really fascinating goof on the part of they called the Makers?
The Makers.
Yeah. Who we knew that Sam was only 6 weeks old or whatever when she joined Starfleet Academy, or 6 months, something like that.
Yes,
like,
and they took 2 centuries to make her.
Yeah, they took 2, which, incredible. But the realization that, you didn't put any kind of framework in place for her. You just went, no memories, because you people haven't had a childhood either. Like, you've only had to interact with other holograms who have never interacted with other holograms. Like, the Doctor has a basis in his programming for basically like the entirety of medical knowledge put into an interactive program and a personality based off of his creator. So while he's borrowing personality from his creator from day one, at least it's a starting point. It's somewhere to go from.
Yeah.
The fact that Sam doesn't have a starting point is so interesting. And the fact that she doesn't have a mentor as well, it makes that hit really, really hard as well, because it's not just this kid that wants a mentor and is seeking guidance.
Right.
It's actually foundational to her program to have that. And the Doctor didn't realize, Nala didn't realize. And that's the thing that's really been her undoing, because as soon as she interacts with something like the Miyazaki, and not just that she got shot, but the trauma of all of that, she has nothing to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this cascade failure that she can't come back from. So yeah, I agree. I think it's a fascinating direction to take Sam.
It's also an interesting point about the importance of being able to have framework. For as advanced as her technology is, without a place for the computing power, without a pathway to process something like trauma or something like just whatever that thing is feeling, it's just true for people too. Without an outlet, without something to put it through, we can kind of shut down, we can glitch out. And a lot of the ways that we can learn about how to process is through the experience of childhood. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we have childhood experiences that give us positive ways to express ourselves. We don't always, but then after childhood, you hope you have school friends maybe that you can talk to, but not all of us have great school friend stories.
But even that is valuable.
But it's something.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a school teacher that's just nice to you on a day that's important. Then you go on your own. Maybe you go to a college, or there's just all these experiences that lead up to the moment that you part ways from what you were born into and what you had to experience. And then you can do it on your own, and you use what you had to sort of guide you. But it is an example, there's a lot of failures to be looked into when you're talking about not having something in place, whether you're a school or a family, to safely express yourself. Because I guess the idea is that Starfleet, Captain Kitty has given them counseling.
Yeah, or they've all had counseling available to them. But the thing is, counseling is counseling.
Yeah.
There are so many shields that come up.
And Sam is trying to hide how serious it is. And so she's learned to mask because she doesn't want her glitch to be known, which is another wonderful symbolic thing. But eventually you crash. And that's true for people too. So she is an example of people. She's an example of what high stress situations can do to you without having something in place. And until someone steps in and says something, hey, you're not okay, can I help you? And you persist even when rejected. She reaches her hand out asking for help, and she's rejected over and over again. This whole series, he has turned his back on her.
That moment is one of the most crushing I've ever seen in Star Trek. That's a hard one to write and act, because you just think the Doctor's a bastard, for not holding her hand and getting over himself in that moment. Whatever you're feeling now, shut up and just hold her hand.
But it makes sense. He describes it. The only way that he can exist in eternity is to not love. And Captain Kitty presses back as a fellow somewhat long-standing, not quite eternal ancient being. She understands. She's lost a child too. They share that in common. And this episode didn't press on that too much either. It didn't say the thing remember your son died too, because and I appreciate that we weren't getting kind of hit over the head too much with child loss. I did not understand any of the Doctor's history, but we were seeing a lot of it kind of play out in the scenes and the screens that the makers are kind of looking into with these beings. And I just thought it worked. It worked for me. It was interesting to see the makers in a different light. Like last time they were so like domineering.
They seemed way more gentle and like apologetic this time.
Yeah, now they're like, oh, shoot.
Well, I guess they've had a couple of 100 years
since they've been, to
evolve since Sam shut them down.
Yeah,
like,
for
since
real.
we haven't heard from you in centuries.
So what was that like for you? Because as the Voyager watcher, as a person who kind of knows, how was it to watch the Doctor shift? He's crushed, obviously. He's been through a lot. He's a traumatized algorithm at this point. How did that work for you?
Well, that is my first point. This is the Doctor episode I've been wanting all season. I'm so glad they did it. It was so deliberate that they peppered in these lines of, I won't be a mentor. I'm not going to be anyone's mentor. His deliberate distance from Sam, his aloofness with kind of everybody. I knew this episode was coming and I'm really glad they did it.
Yeah, you did call it.
They had to. And it's one of the most enduring hang-ups from Voyager as well, is the shit that the Doctor goes through combined with the one episode memory of 90s TV and Star Trek, because it's like, next week I guess the Doctor's fine, and they would carry on a little bit. Like, he has to have in like season 2 he has to have a hard reset where, much like Sam, his programming becomes too advanced and he basically runs out of storage and RAM, and they have to do a hard reset back to day one.
Oh shit.
And he loses his personality. And basically, like, we can fix you and give you a better framework, but you lose everything you have now. Did he agree to that? He had no choice. It's either that or Oblivion. So that's that. But that is like a few episodes later. There's another character that's lost their memory, and he's like, I recently went through a very traumatic memory loss, so I know how you feel. So, but that's as much as it gets to. The stuff that he's talking about, the 2 episodes in particular, they aren't revisited until now. So the first one he mentions is Blink of an Eye, and that is where
he has a daughter.
Sam has explained the Karsk homeworld. 3 days for Earth is 5 years in the Karsk homeworld. And the Doctor experienced that on another planet. And basically, he's the only one that can beam down there because he's the only one that can survive
the length of time.
The length of time, just in case. But they don't intend to leave him down there. There's a transporter glitch.
Of course.
And it's one of my favorite moments because they tell you up front, like, this amount of time on Voyager is this amount of time on the planet. So, and humans can't go down there, not just because of the time thing, but because of other reasons. It's got to be the Doctor. And when it goes wrong, you are constantly looking at the clock because you're like, 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Kim, get on with it, 10 seconds. They're rerouting power, and it is genuinely 17 seconds of screen time. They beam the Doctor back. He's in different clothing. He's lived an entire life on the planet. And so he's learned so much about them. He's learned that Voyager has become a god in orbit that they worship.
Oh, you've talked about this episode before.
Yeah, it's one of the best episodes of Voyager. It's so great. We also learn, just in a sideways comment, that he has a family and a kid. And he's basically like, when they meet one of the aliens and they're like, he says, little like side conversation, can you check on do you know this person? Have you heard of them? Can you check on them for me? And they know he's a hologram. It's like, how did you have, and he's like, it's a long story. So it's assumed that it's like an adopted kid or something. But either way, he has a family that he gets beamed away from. And in the seconds that he's in the transporter room, that family is dead on the planet because the planet has moved ahead decades. That's insane. Trauma that he's never dealt with, and it is the first time it's mentioned now. The other episode he talks about is even more, believe it or not, fucked up. So, and he's talking about his family and his daughter that died. He decides...
Different daughter?
Different daughter.
Jesus Christ.
Not that daughter. Not that child. He decides, and this is an episode I will never show you because...
So do we have to talk about it?
Yes, because it's too much. He decides to create a holographic family for himself because he's like, if I'm going to be a better Doctor and I'm going to experience life, I'm going to experience a family as well. He invites B'Elanna and Kes to join him on the holodeck for a family dinner. B'Elanna decides the family is too perfect because he's designed this perfect algorithm that gives him the housewife, the attending children, they're all lovely. She goes in and makes it more realistic, and suddenly the children are rebellious, the wife has to work, and he's like, this isn't my family. Decides to keep it because it's more realistic, and B'Elanna says, you wanted a real family? You get a real family. This is it. until his daughter has an accident and dies. And he shuts down the program and is like, I'm not going back in. I'm not going to finish it. Tom talks him into going back in, witnessing her death, being with her through the death, and then he shuts down the program and leaves it. It's like, and then never talks about it again. Like, it is wild. But yeah, that's what he's talking about. And that's just like 2 stories that happened in Voyager. Imagine all of the stories he has over the following 800 years. And that's what I've always been like, at this point, he's done, and it makes complete sense. But I do love that they specifically addressed, like, especially that episode where he has the holographic family and how he just he doesn't want to face having a family again and wanting to love like that again, and it's just too much. And they addressed it in a way that was really satisfying for me, and to loop that into, fine, I will do this for Sam because Sam needs it and Sam is gone if I don't, and I guess it's worth the risk. I guess I do it. So yeah, I just a lore dump there, but it's really rewarding to give the Doctor and Robert Picardo these really emotional moments, because he is a highlight of Voyager. I think he's the best actor in Voyager. He is so good, and like he just acted his butt off in this. With the crying and the emotion, like I buy all of it.
Yeah, I was definitely in it.
Yeah,
I really was, and it's a pretty serious episode. But I thought they did a good job. And my second point is kind of about the returning beyond trauma to your new self, which a lot of the characters choose to do in this episode. It's the acknowledgement of we're never going to be the same again. There's no person in this episode that has decided to not try to progress to the next thing. And the Doctor is choosing to face a new love. Sam is choosing to face trauma and doesn't really have a choice, comes back. Well, I guess Sam is part of the makers at that point. You know, Sam is in there somewhere. They did say terminate programming for when Sam passed, but
yeah,
I don't know that she had a choice. She didn't have a choice to terminate. She didn't have a choice to come back. She's just
they just brought her back, and she's grateful for it.
Maybe she'll have some new autonomy in her new character, because we're going to see sort of some new intelligence and purpose in her.
Really,
that'll be different. Yeah, I think she's going to be more quote unquote human like now, even though she was raised by another.
But a hologram based on human. Yeah. He's a human. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's this theme of like recognizing when you're a ghost of yourself, reflecting on the memories. So this is really paired with this play where I've learned in this episode, I've never seen this play before, but we learned in the episode that the stage manager is the observer of this truth.
I've learned that I want to see this play.
I do too. And that it's in black and white. And only when they're reflecting on memory is there color, because it's the details of the memory that bring things more into like vivid life for you.
You can't feel it when you're living it.
And so the idea is that upon reflection, we gain a lot of our like purpose and our momentum and things like that. In the moment, it can feel really mundane and just like something really simple, doesn't seem like a big deal. But then the perspective. And so we have all these different perspectives. We have
hindsight is Technicolor.
Tilly's perspective. We have Tig's perspective. We have Kitty's perspective. All these long-standing people's perspective of trauma is different when you've experienced it and come through it a lot. When you have the experience of going through something, and trauma is different for everybody. Like I have a daughter. She's going to be a tween at some point. Her version of trauma is very different than mine.
Her version of trauma right now is very different.
Her version of trauma when she was a toddler, very different. So I can kind of be removed from it and sometimes indifferent or even humored by what she thinks is the biggest of deals. And my gift to her is to try to make her reality mine too, and really absorb it and go, wow, this would be a big deal if this was your first time to ever experience this before.
Yeah, she's so new.
She's so new. And then as, she gets older and is traumatized by life, I hope that she has the mechanisms to deal with that. But this shows you all different kinds of angles. It shows people choosing to not be a ghost and acknowledging trauma and moving through it. And we show there's addiction that's shown, there's an appropriate behavior that's shown, there's indifference. It really shows a lot of different kinds of ways to approach not wanting to address the trauma. And the episode literally has a character's like, can we just stop this bullshit?
Yeah, I kind of love that.
And honestly, I think there is a part of me several years ago that would have hated this episode.
Yeah.
Because
you would be with Tarima and just like,
Yeah.
can we cut it? Can we cut to the credits now?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, trying to trick me into this.
I'd be like, cool, kill my program. I don't need to feel this anymore. You know, like I'd be kind of more like Doctor. Like I don't want to do that. Like why mess with the beauty of feeling nothing? And so it's cool to watch this episode and not want to turn it off. That was really unique experience. And it wasn't just because we're doing the show. I was really getting an interesting experience from these, and I feel like a freaking broken record, but the modern storytelling that's really brave and unique to me, because the ultimate part of this is about young people trying to get through a college age experience and the awkwardness of facing real life and how it's not great. And when you're in Starfleet, really, really fucked up stuff happens. Like all the episodes we've ever watched, the craziest stuff happens. And when we stop and say, how are they getting through this? It's always a mystery.
Well, and now I guess we kind of understand, because the Academy does prepare them for some of this in a protected place. So
yeah, like with the simulation.
The reason we protect kids so much is because we know that trauma is absolutely 100% inevitable.
Yeah.
But if they can experience it in little doses while we're with them to like help guide them through it, it's much better than Sam's example, which is 100% trauma with no backing. So
that's right.
There is no way to 100% prepare you, but you can build up your dosage of trauma so that you're just kind of, like Nala said, you build that resilience when you're a child, bit by bit by bit by bit, and the accumulation of those experiences and memories hopefully prepare you for the fucked uppery of life. And I think that's the Starfleet thing as well. The cadets have to experience doses of this trauma so that when they're out in Starfleet, on starships in deep space without a safety net, they are somewhat prepared for it.
And the interesting thing for me is that this moving beyond trauma into your new self and using theater to do it. Yes, I was like a little bit not interested at that. But what I liked about it by the end, and I also didn't know how I was going to enjoy Tilly, but she was really pressing for deeper understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens when you're in class structures where somebody is saying, go deeper. This is the time to press into that, because you are in those dose environments. Just this is when you feel that stuff. This is when it's important. And I don't think it would have worked for me the same if there weren't those little scenes with like Captain Kitty and Tig and Tilly all together kind of going, we got to help these kids. And that's genuinely what it's like kind of for me growing up now with a child and with someone to kind of like help guide, is you kind of like lockstep with some adults and go, let's just form a pod and try to create some systems here to give them a dose of reality. And like it's just really, really interesting because there's a lot of like mimicking in my real life in this episode. And I also just like the way that the characters kind of interacted. Each person, like I said, kind of made a choice at some point to mature. Even Caleb pushing back against Tamira when she was coming on to him, like he found a boundary. And he probably, maybe he was always that guy. And
I think so.
I think he was always that guy. But there's growth there. And there's confidence there, and the characters all just, each one of them seemed to kind of have a moment with like, yeah, I'm bigger than that. And they kind of got onto it. And I really appreciate that modern storytelling a lot. I think they did a lot in this episode to kind of encourage us all that we do have choices to get up and keep going. And hopefully there's a friend or mentor, a parent, someone around you that can kind of like be a witness.
Interestingly, I think Genesis might be the only one that was already there. And she fascinates me every episode because she seems to be 100 steps ahead of everybody. It's like Tarima really confides in her, and Genesis says like, maybe you're on your way to the next version of you, which is great advice. Like, we're evolving. Like the story, like the play says, you can't stop the passage of time, and you can resent that, like being forced into the marriage and like feeling that lack of control over your life. But Genesis is like, this is part of the journey. Like, you're just on your way to what you're going to be tomorrow. This is the sucky bit where you're in like a transition, but good stuff is to come. So Genesis is fascinating to me. I feel like there could be a reveal where she's 109 and she just ages differently. Like she's in the academy, but she's way older than we think she is.
Well, you just know that when she's holding Tarima's hand.
Yeah.
That she's thinking about how she can use her. So
No, that's no, Deneé.
Don't forget last episode.
Don't do it. My next point is Tilly, actually. I'm going to be the resident Star Trek nerd and go into Tilly.
As you should be.
As I should be. Tilly, I had a couple of issues with Tilly in this episode.
Okay, so is there a Tilly before and a Tilly now?
Yeah.
Has she matured? Has she grown up? Is she a different kind of like evolved character? And
Bit too much.
Oh, okay.
Bit too quick. And it's
not too quick.
I don't really want to say it's too quick, but this is the contradiction of television and evolution versus liking your characters to be what they are. So for me, there's a great reason why Data didn't get an emotion chip in the TV show, because it would have stunted his development. It would have both stunted his development and accelerated it too fast. So like the joy of Data not having emotions would have been out of the window, and like the fun of watching Data is having him not understand the emotions and the human condition. Tilly has become like mentor, sage, guidance person, and I don't think for me have seen enough to get her there. So I'm just going to assume a lot happened off screen.
So maybe I do have some questions for you.
Yeah.
Did she have a lot of trauma that she got through on her ship that she's pulling from like personal experience?
I mean, as much as anybody in Starfleet does. So Tilly was a cadet in season 1 of Discovery.
I know I've seen her before.
Yeah,
and
so
I think I can imagine her pretty confidently in that ship.
Yeah, so she's a main character in Discovery. She's a cadet in season 1. She's a full-fledged officer in season 2. Gets promoted to lieutenant. But in season 1, she's very much Wesley. Like, she is very nervous, hyper energetic. She's Sam as well. She's Sam and Wesley. She's like, science is cool. She has the first ever fuck in Star Trek. So this is fucking weird. In I think episode 5 of Discovery. And she wasn't everybody's favorite person because the internet is a garbage fire of shit people sometimes. I always enjoyed her. I love Tilly.
Because she was kind of quirky.
She's quirky, has this nervous energy. She's a freaking, the biggest nerd on the ship, just excited about everything. And she does evolve and develop and gets more confident and finds her voice and stuff. But I just think a lot happens in Discovery, obviously. They get thrown 800, 900 years into the future. Tilly is obviously a part of that. She eventually leaves Discovery to teach. Like, Discovery ends her arc by saying she's going to the academy to teach. So we knew that was... Before we knew about Starfleet Academy,
the show,
we knew that she was going to be at it. She was going to be there. Okay. So it's just... I think there's a bit of me that misses the nervous Tilly. That misses, like, there's a lot for that character to represent that nervousness in Starfleet and that panic and that lack of confidence. So it's interesting to like jump her into mentor role when I'm like, there's value in her being the nervous Tilly that I knew in Discovery. This, for me, don't hate me, people, this could have been Burnham, like Michael, the captain in Discovery. Like, she would have been, I think, a great person to talk about dealing with trauma and things like that. Like, I just think she would be really, really good. Saru would be the Kelpian.
There's a Kelpian student at the school too.
There is. I think Saru would have been an incredible teacher.
And they put their arms behind their back and wiggle them.
And they sway backwards and forward.
I've seen them a couple times. I'm like, oh, look.
Saru could have done it. Like, Tilly was just, I'm happy to see Tilly. I love her. I want her in this show every single episode. I just didn't fully buy that she was in her mentor era. So
yeah, I think that's part of the problem sometimes with one show ending and another show picking up later and, taking those liberties of maturity. I've had that experience happen, but not necessarily in the same universe. I've had it where an actor will play a specific character in a couple of different movies and then I'll see him in a different role and I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me because you're just kind of used to seeing them play.
I think that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, you feel like, oh, you're uncomfortable for me now because I had you in a very comfortable space.
And I think in total we're looking at, I could be wrong, I think we're looking at 6 years.
That's a long time. Listen, being a teacher will take a lot out of you, I've heard. I mean, it really, I actually reached out to a teacher recently that used to love teaching, because I was talking about, hey, if there's ever an opportunity to fill in as like a sub, or would you ever be interested in just becoming a teacher again? And she's like, girl, I love you. No, I wouldn't do it. And
I haven't met a single teacher who is happy to not be teaching.
I'm who is not
happy to not be teaching.
Yes. But that's the point, right? Is being a teacher is hard. If she was still happy Tilly.
But I think she's only been a teacher for a year. If that.
Okay.
Like 9 months. This is the first class of the academy. Like she had some.
But she said she was going to be teaching third year.
Yeah, no, she had some cadets. She had some cadets during Discovery, actually, because I think it's season 4 she leaves.
Because she's in third year, so she said, "See you in third year." So yeah, I think that this is like the new class, but there's another. It might be like the first like group of academy students. Anyway, I don't fully understand that now. I'm gonna have to relook at that. Yeah, but either way, I understand your discomfort from a perspective of somebody who doesn't have a relationship with this character. It worked for me because this is the first time I'm really like getting to know her. I remember her character, but nothing stood out enough besides this like excitement and this exuberance.
That's very much her.
Which I saw in this episode as she was like pointing to Sam, being like, "You're my favorite," and that kind of like enthusiasm, and that's the youth that is there. But then her willingness to push them emotionally and push them to learn and push them to move outside of themselves is something that you have to be kind of brave when you are teaching. So that's interesting.
I love Mary Wiseman. Like, she is great. I got to see her at a convention in London. I got to watch her play Dungeons and Dragons with some other Star Trek people. She's an incredible nerd in real life as well. So yeah, I do enjoy her being back. And the side note to all of that is that I really enjoyed the play framing that she brought to the students as well. So how she was going to use theatre as a vessel for exploring trauma and stuff. And I love that there is still this focus in the future. It's not just all science and battle simulations and engineering and math and weapon systems. It's also they're doing theatre and they're doing the arts and they're doing history and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoy that. And with how much Star Trek quotes Shakespeare throughout the movies, with Patrick Stewart, like Picard quoting Shakespeare, and like Data exploring the human condition through plays on the holodeck as well. Doing an episode framed as a play is really, really smart. It's really, really, really cool. And you mentioned her, like, Tarima pushing back on her and saying, "I don't want to do this. This is dumb. I know what you're doing." And like calling her out. And like, "I know that you're trying to get us to talk about our trauma through the stupid play." I love so much that Tilly stood her ground.
Yes.
And was like, "I know you think it's stupid, but we're doing it anyway. And it doesn't matter that it's stupid because like a lot of people here are
talking about it.
And it's working. You're the problem here. Like, we all know, like, kind of like, congratulations for pointing that out. We all know. Everybody knows that this is a trick. Everybody knows that I'm trying to do this. But you've got to choose to engage with it. Like, you've got to choose to, like, rise above the silliness and use it to heal, or admit that you're choosing to not heal as well. You're choosing to not face the issues.
I think that really solidifies my third point, which is like the play is the lens of life, which we've kind of talked about a little bit. So I want to kind of bounce into this idea that art does give us the framework to express ourselves. And sometimes it's a lyric in a song where like, I couldn't say it my own way, but I can say it this way.
Yep.
So by all of these students examining their situation through the lens of these characters, which fit them pretty perfectly. Like, do you think that they knew this was the episode before? They had to have known that this was the episode, like this was happening in this season, no matter what, because they all kind of play into these roles so perfectly. They must have known from day one that they're going to do a Thornton Wilder episode, and it's to this play.
Yeah.
And so they've built these characters to sort of like be able to example. It would
be crazy if they found it after the fact. Like, the Cisco, the quote that they had at the end of that episode
that was
just
a fluke.
happened to be perfect. That was a fluke. But the play
this seems
can't be.
so intentional. I mean, even Asshole Boy has, which is what I called him in my notes today.
Fish Boy,
And I don't call him Fish Boy. I call him Transformer Boy.
Transformer Boy,
He even has a line about marrying the wrong person and choosing not. That's straight from his last episode.
Yeah.
So there's these on the nose things. The characters are a bit on the nose, but there's a moment towards the end when Tilly has pressed them and says, "Yes, you know what I'm doing. Congratulations." Like kind of like to your point. Genesis starts to vocalize. Caleb starts to vocalize and just say the hard, difficult things. But because they're saying it as a character, it makes it easier to say it. It's kind of like whenever you're like, I have a friend who's really interested in learning about polka. My friend wants to know where
polka
they can pick up
polka.
polka album. My friend is, that kind of cover of you don't want to admit that it's you, and so you need a way to express yourself. And
Deneé, has this podcast all been a way for you to tell me you want to get into polka?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, it's been a 4-year journey. Art does that. Sometimes it's going to a museum and like you really connect to a painting and it expresses how you feel in one image and you're kind of just struck by it. And then someone asks what you think about it and you're able to express your emotions that you're feeling. That's something that's inside of you. And art gives us these playgrounds that have certain lyrics that we can kind of use to express ourselves. So I really enjoyed it being through the play. That was an unexpected bonus. I thought they did the play a service as well. Sam's when she and Captain Kitty and the doctor go to Cask, it's in black and white, just like they had described the play. And
it's excellent. It's one of my favorite bits of the episode.
And when
it's really clever.
It glances over to what's happening at the school. It turns back into color. And the brother is narrating kind of the play, but it looks like it's in that reflective perspective. And we're kind of forced to see it like you can choose to see this as something that happened in the past now and appreciate it more because it's happening. And it's just a really nice episode. There's a lot of, does it do a lot of adventure? Does it do a lot of Star Trek momentum?
I think the point is they've done enough adventuring.
Right. But like, I do miss that. I do miss the
lighter stuff.
Well, it's not really light. There's always, I guess it's still, it
is lighter stuff though. It is like, there are heavy episodes.
It's the theatrical part of Star Trek, right? Where, and maybe that's silly a bit. But here's the thing. I really enjoyed this episode and I really enjoy this show because it is a departure from the storytelling. You recently talked to me about a quote from somebody who said, like, you don't have to change Star Trek because Star Trek fans are there for like this. And I kind of don't know that I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, after watching this, I'm not sure I agree anymore either.
This is a departure. So some people won't like it because they want to have in-space adventures, and I totally understand that. But then there's other things you can watch, and are they new? No, but you can go watch them again. They still stand the test of time.
You can have your space adventure hour.
Yeah, just, and I still haven't made my way through all of Star Trek, and there's lots and lots for me. So if I'm feeling like a space adventure, I know I can pull up my beloved TNG, or we could go back and we could try, an episode of something that we haven't watched yet. We still haven't finished Prodigy, I don't think.
Yeah, no, still got an entire season left to go.
So we have lots of content waiting for us, but to open up and let these new stories come through in this space, it just brings me so much joy. And like, I'm excited for this level of storytelling where it's so interwoven through the lens of art, not just the easy to get stuff like Sam is playing Emily Webb, not and Emily Webb is going to die and Sam is going to die. And so like, that's a pretty obvious one, but there's a lot of just this cosmic scale interplay between this play I've never fucking heard of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, really well done. It kind of was my third point, which was how the episode becomes the play. Like, not 100%, it doesn't have to, but it does it in really, really important ways that I was getting lost a little bit in the middle. But when we lock in, basically when they arrive at Cask and it goes black and white, I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, the simplistic staging, like the lack of color. It's almost too on the nose, but it's so perfect.
So good. And at the very end, Captain Kitty is the observer.
She's the observer, and that
good.
final shot with the spotlight on her is so good. Like, that's new Star Trek to me. Like, that is doing...
That's theater.
There is like... Star Trek is theater. Star Trek is very rarely meta and self-aware like that. And when it is, it's usually over the top. Like how Strange New Worlds did it with Space Adventure Hour. Like very deliberately... goofy. On the nose and goofy about what it's doing. And the musical episode.
Yeah.
And another episode that's coming up. But this was like very kind of highbrow meta contextual self-analysis.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it. It's kind of like, it's not apologizing for being smart. It's kind of like talking up to the audience and assuming you're going to be able to follow along as well. And I really, really appreciated the creative decisions that mirror the play.
Me too. Yeah. And it wouldn't have worked in a regular Star Trek time. Like,
no.
In what world would our a group of adventurers have a theatrical play moment? Unless it's Q making you go into Robin Hood.
That would be the way. Yeah, that would be.
But even then, there's not a lot of symbolism there. That's just Q wanting to fuck with you. And then you're putting on these roles, and you have Little John being the big guy, ha ha, and you have Captain Picard being the savior, ha ha, and you have Beverly being the maiden, ha ha. There's just it's more like a play for play's sake, where this is depths and layers of thought that go into this. And I get it's not going to be for everybody, but it got me on the right day.
I'm glad it exists for somebody, like, and it is for me. Like, I really like this. This is some of the newest Star Trek in terms of doing something new that I've seen. And I can't even find a word for it, because I feel like it's more episodic than Strange New Worlds. It is more bottle episode than Strange New Worlds. Each episode is its own defined thing. Like, it's almost its own theme or its own genre. Like, that's what I feel like. Each episode has been a different genre, which is really cool. And that's what Star Trek was always great at. And yes, it has this like, of course it has more of an underlying theme than TNG and Voyager.
Yeah.
But each episode, I feel like, has its own purpose, design, and even structure that isn't like, oh, this is the Starfleet Academy structure. I don't know what the Starfleet Academy structure is, other than each episode is specifically exploring something. And
it's exploring really something
in a unique way, deliberately.
Because they have to be at school together.
Yeah.
You know, they're not just stuck on a ship doing a specific adventure where you have to be lockstepped into your command stations and things like that. They're in school. They're still learning about each other. And the series seems to also, although episodic, it's crescendoing. It's building towards something. And we know it's that Mommy's coming back, and she didn't come back this episode. So we know it's going to happen in the next two. I wish that didn't
exist anymore. Like, I don't need it.
I don't either. But what I do need is I need this crew to like keep going, right? Like, I want to see them
keep growing,
go onto a ship and have adventures. I would watch Genesis for the next 6 years. Like,
100%. I'm in love with her.
And Caleb is, holy shit, so grown on me. I really didn't like him at the very first, but he had this like super nerd out moment when he was talking about
the physiological
part. And I was just like, well, he's incredibly smart, and he's pretty well rounded. And I don't know what they're going to do to him when the mom returns and he has a crisis of family.
But they haven't felt the need to stick him in the jock box, like just a muscly guy, or everybody. No, can be both things.
There's no character that they have fully put into this is the one stereotype you have. They've really intentionally done some dynamics. And I do think that's sometimes uncomfortable when you're watching a story, because there is comfort in watching something and immediately clocking it, putting it in your comfortable brain space.
That's why horror films are so
moving
comfortable.
On.
Yeah.
Because you kind of just know it's going to happen and you're along for the ride, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
This one's not doing that. And I'm shocked that I'm liking it so much, but the last episode was the only episode that I've been kind of like meh about.
Yeah.
But this
I think that one might grow on me, but I don't know. But
no, that one will never grow on me. I love how bold
this one was. I love how confident this one was.
He was super confident
to do the theme of the play and to like have the characters acted out, but also have the episode act it out as well.
They said, hey, how do we, in a modern storytelling environment with all of the emotionally intelligent, advanced ways that we can tell stories, real stories through this lens, how can we take these kids, put them together, put them through trauma, and then make them come together again. And they did that using this play as their model, and it worked.
Yeah, I think it worked as well. That really was my third point, is talking about the play and the structure of the episode and how clever that was and how much it worked for me. Any sentences, Ambassador? I, of course, have a few.
Go on.
I am bitterly disappointed that Jaden's sneeze wasn't earth-shattering. In TNG, Mr. Worf gets a cold, and it is freaking hilarious.
Oh.
Because of the sound design. He's at the forward station in where you usually see Wesley would sit, or the random operator of the bridge of the day. He's typing away, and then he goes, and it cuts away to Riker, and as he sneezes, it deliberately echoes, and it is like it bellows throughout the bridge, and then he sneezes again, and it's deliberately amplified in post. And it's just hilarious because everyone's like, fuck me. Like, what, you Klingons don't do anything small, do they? But Jaden's sneeze was just, achoo. And if it had echoed, if it had like just reverberated like Worf's sneeze, I would have just been such a happy boy. So that's one for the nerds.
Well, I will piggyback on that. I was confused why that was part of it.
Why was it there? Why did he even have a code?
So
just because you don't want him in the episode?
There might be a interlinking...
The cold comes back?
Like thing that they're going to do down the line. Maybe it's the slug comeback. I don't know.
It was wild.
But my first thought is your protocol is to quarantine him to his quarters and not send him to sick bay?
Send him to fucking sick bay? How do you still have Klingon colds in the future?
So I was distracted by that, but I really did enjoy Jaden in this episode with his like Klingon
the opera had to be Klingon opera. And, I love that.
How he bows at the end, like thank you, and
I love his skirt as well, or the skirt, whatever he's got. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to articulate this super duper well, other than I'm madly in love with Genesis. But what was interesting?
You want me to shave my eyebrows and put the glitter things on my face?
I wouldn't say no. The moment I really hated the scene. Hate is a strong word. I strongly disliked the scene where Tarima was drunk with Caleb. That was the most forced bit of the episode for me. Like her getting offended and attacking him and doing the push you away because I'm dangerous, whatever. Skip. Like that didn't feel very fresh to me. That didn't feel very engaging to me at all. What I did like is her back in her quarters with Genesis. And like how they bonded, and the interesting thing that because Tarima now has a neural link that allows her to use her powers more safely, she's reading everyone a lot more. She's reading Caleb's feelings for Genesis, it is fine, everybody, breaking news. It is fine to be attracted to more than one person. It is fine to be in a deep relationship, married, partnered, living together, whatever, and still find other people attractive. That is okay. That you can find your friends attractive. That is fine. And she senses that Genesis is attractive to Caleb and that something has evolved while she's been away as well.
Or was always there and she just
didn't
know
it. Or was always there. And I love that there isn't, yes, she was drunk, but there wasn't a madness or an anger there. And Genesis wasn't angry either. And the next day, there didn't seem to be any anger specifically about, or jealousy. So I'm just really enjoying that this.
The maturity wasn't just the bromance.
Yeah.
Because there was the bro love that we had earlier, where they were just willing to have a moment without it being something else.
You mean with Jaden?
There's the breathing, all of them.
Yeah.
And this is showing the female side of that.
And and I really, really appreciate it. It's a love triangle that isn't a love triangle. It's just complicated complicated relationship feelings. And I love that Tarima didn't hold that against Genesis. I love that Genesis didn't. She denied it a bit by saying we're friends, but
because she's plotting against her.
Also, shut up. But also didn't deny it afterwards. So I think there's healthy relationships being presented.
Me too.
Without falling into so many cliches of jealousy and different types of love. Like English language fails the emotion of love every single day. There are so many different versions of love that we don't get to communicate properly. That was a long sentence, but it was one sentence with a lot of commas.
Yes, it was. That's okay. We're breaking rules. Yeah, I could have skipped the scene to the drunk scene too, because I felt like what it could be doing is giving Caleb the permission to go with Genesis. And I'm glad that they're not seeming to just fall into that trope. But what I did appreciate about that scene is that this is how people cope with trauma.
Yeah.
And it is uncomfortable to watch.
Yes.
But alcohol and other substances do lower your inhibitions. They do allow a lack of control, which is very dangerous and you need to be careful with it. But there is this tendency to reach towards something that makes you feel different so that you can handle something differently. And I think they needed to show that too. Even though it was uncomfortable and a bit of a skip, it's important to see the ugly side of coping mechanisms that are not helpful all the time. Like, I think every once in a while, trying to figure out how to do something to like get out of a rut makes sense. Doing it safely with people that love you and care about you is kind of what we saw. Like, Caleb met her where she was. He was a steady presence for her. The person playing Tarima did a great job, because the goofiness of the word that she had him say through the hand was silly and also evocative, and it's just what happens. This is what happens. People say weird shit when they're drunk, and then she goes in and she has another humor beat where she's like, "This is a fucking ugly pillow." Yeah, and it was the first thing I clocked. I was like, I want to know all about that pillow. I want that pillow.
Star Trek has the worst bedding in any TV show ever. The TNG bedding looks hideous.
The pillows looked like they at least have some fluff to it, but that squish pillow, like I need to find it.
So weird.
I need to find it. It looks like some sort of sea thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's glorious.
That's my long sentence to go along with your long sentence. What's your last one?
I love that.
Last thought.
I really love the ability to do time stuff. Like, we haven't really talked about it much, but the Doctor has now experienced 17 years. I love time dilation shit. And that's a drop in the bucket compared to the 900 years that he's lived. But I just think we can't underestimate, like, he has now lived 17 years as a parent. Like, how is that going to change him? And like, is he going to be different next week? I hope so. He seemed lighter at the end, which was fun. I really love science fiction, and that we can do that and use it as a plot device, and it makes sense. It is such a novel way to fix Sam that isn't we rebooted her. That isn't we made a new one.
Yeah.
Like, because this is very much like, this isn't the Voyager fix, which was, all right, Doctor, we delete you and we restart you and you'll be fine next week. This is a much more logical and believable solution to me that is more interesting to talk about.
It really is, especially from a parent perspective myself, which I won't hit on too hard, but I've already hit on it too hard. So I'm going to hit on it too hard one more time. And I will say that the implication that it is worth dedicating 17 years of your life to the blip of eternity to try to mentor someone because you want to give them the best chance at resisting the glitch when the trauma comes. And it is inevitable that's a good work to do, and it's worth turning your back on protecting yourself and jumping in and doing it bravely. And I love the symbolism there.
It is not about preventing trauma. It is about giving coping mechanisms, healthy ones, and finding good people. Like, that is got to be what parenting is about.
It's just a really beautiful symbolism that it is scary to love, and it is scary to step outside of what keeps you protected and reach out and hold someone's hand and give them a bit of mentorship, a bit of a standing, like giving them your time to help them stand up in their trauma is not an easy thing to do. But I think that's kind of what the Doctor literally became a parent again. But the symbolism is the same for Kitty, but it's not the same, because Kitty is the Chancellor. She's the big teacher. The Tilly is a teacher. This was the parent role. And it was a really nice montage at the end. And also
love the montage.
My single sentence is the fucking makers looked cool. That's all.
I love that, and I love the voice
really
of the makers.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah, I think...
And there was such a reverence for the Doctor.
There really was. There was such a respect.
They're like, we know you.
Yes, Doctor. Like when
Was
he
it 8
calls for them
centuries
again.
or something?
Yeah, 8 centuries of being a program. We know all about
Crazy.
you. Yeah, absolutely bonkers. I am so happy they did the Doctor some justice. Like,
Yeah, it's a big relief, isn't it?
It elevates it beyond, let's just bring back a familiar face, to, we've got some unfinished business here.
And
Let's give him some stuff to do.
And elevates it from, okay, I'll mentor you. You can come and sit in my office and bitch about your friends when you want to. I'm going to make you the fucking parent.
Yeah.
Like, and do it in a way where it's not the entire episode. It's not the focal point, but it's a critical.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I like this episode. It's a 4 pepper for me. What is it for you?
Oh, nice. Man, this is hard.
Like, I kind of almost went 3 because there was a couple of moments where I felt myself like kind of pulling out because of the same things we talked about. This is really a youthful experience, but the way that they wove the story, I really respect it. It's a 4 for me.
Doctor and Sam, everything they're in is a 4.
Listen, if
Freema
this
stuff makes it a 3 for me. It really does drag it down. Like some of the cliche stuff that's coming from her.
Here's the thing I think that's difficult. We talked about this briefly in the past, which is that in years long ago, we would have 25 episodes to know these characters.
Yeah.
And now the way that the storytelling works is we really have to believe that these people have been together for every single day for months and months and months and months.
209 days.
Like genuinely forming relationships. And this episode says things are really rough right now. How are we going to bring us together? But because we're only on episode 8 and we only get to have about an hour with them for a few weeks, it does ask us to do some of the mental lift for their existing relationship. But if we had 25 or 30 episodes with them, I think this would hit differently. I think this would be a deeper relationship.
There is an element of it doing a bit too much that I'm unpacking as well. Like, something I miss from TNG and Voyager is 45 minutes to zero in and do something really focused. Completely off topic, I'm really enjoying, like apparently the entire world is enjoying, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And so much of it genuinely is 30 minutes of tight storytelling, like no room for nonsense.
And a lot of gore.
But yeah, 30 minutes of tight storytelling. I know you just said that it wasn't the entire episode, but I think if the entire episode is focused on the Doctor, Sam, and Nala and Karsk, oh man, this is so hard.
I wouldn't have wanted to watch an entire episode of a kid growing up.
No, I don't mean that's the whole episode,
Okay.
just more along that lines, like make the focus more her. I need more time with it, Deneé.
It's okay. We'll just say that it's a 3 for you. The parallels between the play and the people in the story
is great. I love it.
It works because of how it's put together. So I don't know. For me, I want to see who wrote this actually. Gaia Violo and Jane Maggs.
Yeah, so she's the showrunner of Starfleet Academy. Yeah, and I think she's crafted an incredible episode. I am actually going to give it a 4. I'm going to jump up to a 4 because I think my hesitation isn't something that detracts from the episode. Like, I think it is needed. And I applaud like the break of format as well and the redefining of what Star Trek can be. I just think Academy is doing some really, really good work that I wish more people knew about. I wish people knew the work Academy was doing and how brave it is. Anything else, Ambassador?
No, I just have, because I'm on Wikipedia, I just learned that Jonathan Frakes is directing next week's episode. Let's go!
Oh, let's go. Well, next week's episode is called 300th Night.
300th Night?
Yeah, I kind of love that. So I think it's going to take place in the same night. And a very special time for me. Starfleet Academy. All right, Ambassador. What an episode. Like, that blew my mind. I kind of love it. I really love it. Let's do it. Let's keep making Star Trek. Shall we? Should we keep making Star Trek?
Oh, man. Imagine.
I think we should.
You know how it's like our life isn't over yet? Like, what if we actually one day, we write for a living. What if we end up writing for Star Trek?
It could be. We need to sort out that spelling test that we fucked up today.
I didn't fuck it up.
You did.
No.
One of the words.
No.
Ibble.
Okay, I missed one letter.
Well, until next week, everybody, come and email us, iananddeneé@gmail.com with anything you want to email us. Check the description for links to our lovely Patreon. Become a founding Tieflinger, join our Discord, join the community. The more, the merrier.
Oh, and I'm going to post a link to my family's information.
Yes.
Doctor. Yeah. So I'll post that in the Discord as well.
Fascinating.
So you guys can see what she looked like.
Love that so much. So until next week, I'm Captain Ian, and optimism is me paddling my frickin' canoe.
And what a shame to not live in every moment.
Live long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Captain's Pod. If you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, you can send us an email to ian@iananddeneé.com. And if you want to support the show and get the episodes early, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/iananddeneé. If you want to catch the show live, we have those links down in the description for YouTube and Twitch. And then I think I'm supposed to close this hailing frequency, so bloop bloop, we're out.
Kitty, Popper, look at you, so fluffer, with your snoot all doodle. You're adorable, and you're hairy, and your breath smells like ass, but I love you, Popper. Yes, I do. Gubber.
So I think referencing the adventures of Doctor Who would be great, but in this world, Doctor Who only ran for 2 seasons and then was cancelled because modern Doctor Who.
So you would reference an entertainment show.
An entertainment show, yeah. No, I mean, that just like on the spot. That's what it would be cool. It would be cool to reference that, but it can't be later Star Trek. But it can't be later Doctor Who because Doctor Who references Star Trek.
You're in a pickle. Maybe you should go in a different direction.
I think I'm going to have to. I've got it. Sorry, I've got it. Video games.
Oh, okay. Oh, like just referencing video games?
Xbox, Switch.
Yeah.
Like
just that part of the culture in there somewhere.
Somebody being addicted to an Xbox.
Yeah.
Like just playing a first-person shooter. Like holodecks,
in that addiction game.
Not even VR. Like just, I'm going retro. I don't want to play on a holodeck. I want to play a video game that I really recognize. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Like them playing Halo. That would be really fun.
Yeah, I went way more serious. I was thinking about the importance of referencing women's rights specifically.
Oh, yeah, I went in a completely different direction. Sorry.
Just bringing in like a real person from our history that genuinely impacted how things are done. So there's all these, amazing women that have contributed to
100%
me being able to vote and have any rights today. Or just strong figures that will hold the line for policy that
would be really cool. Yeah.
So something like that. How did you feel the very morning? I guess we should start by saying you like your mornings to be completely quiet. Silence.
Silence.
No talking.
My irritability
100%
is dialed up
instant.
by a factor of 10 when I am just conscious. Unless you're cuddling me, get away from me.
I remember when you told me you were a grumpy bear.
Yeah.
It's true, especially in the mornings. So here's my question. How did you feel the morning after I played my bat noise to Iris in the kitchen in the morning when both your girls were screeching?
Do you ever notice that I get very, very close to the oven?
Like as far away from us as possible?
Far away. So we have like this U-shaped thing that's a breakfast counter, and on the opposite side of that in the kitchen and against the wall is the oven. It is the furthest point I can be away while still being productive and part of the breakfast experience. So yeah, that's how I felt.
You wanted to crawl in the oven.
Glued to the oven.
Wow.
Can I tell you what I love about Star Trek nerds on the Discord?
Oh, yes.
So my latest 3D print is a Star Trek Mark III phaser rifle. And this is the one with the black cylindrical nozzle. It's not the one with the wings in Voyager. It's not the one that looks like a phaser just plonked on the end of a rifle. It's the one from the movies, and I love it so much. So it's printed in about 27 different pieces. I assembled them all on the floor, took a picture of it, uploaded it to the Discord, and said, "Can you guess what my next print is?" And Sci-Fi Brony comes in and says, "If there are some parts missing, it's a Type 3 phaser rifle from one of the Star Trek movies. If this is all of the parts, it's another phaser that I don't quite recognize. And I'm like, weird, all of the parts are... Oh, no, they're not. I hadn't put some of the parts in the picture. They were still on the shelf. So there were parts missing I didn't even know about.
Sci-fi.
So I was like, A, thanks for telling me there were parts missing. B, holy shit.
The cat is just howling from somewhere, and I can hear Ian stomping around upstairs looking for him. Kitty! Is he down here? I can hear him! He's howling!
Well, several minutes ago we started recording a podcast, and then we had to find the cat and which window he was malowing at.
I thought he was maybe stuck in a vent. Because
No.
it was from an area, I was hearing him in a way I don't usually hear him.
Yeah, he sounded far away.
And also we checked all of the basement windows where he is basically like at the level of the ground and didn't see him because he was perched around a corner. So he was screaming at a window, but not just out of view.
Well, the bottom of the window is a bit dirty, so he probably didn't want to dirty his bloody paws.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of bloody paws, let's get into some horror level cat owning experiences. It is springtime and the animals do cometh.
Yep. And you thought that he brought a mouse to the door.
He did.
To the back door. And I corrected you. He actually brought 2 mice. Because what you thought was a mouse bit in half was actually 2 tails. So I was like, he has eaten the heads of 2 mice and left the tails and back legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He doesn't eat the arse end. He's cultured.
That's just... No.
Yeah, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave
That's
you
such a
all
fucking
alone?
weird song. Quit it.
Got a bad design.
Oh my God, shut up.
Oh, ho, ho. Why is it a weird song?
Just say it out loud.
Hey, little girl, is your daddy fat?